for coming today to this press conference. This is an exciting and monumental day for educational freedom in this state, for public education in this state, for every child who will go through an Arizona classroom or be impacted by an Arizona teacher. This is a great day. You know, as you know, I talked with most of you about a month ago. We've had some challenges, unfortunately, with the Department of Education. And the school choice community, the parents, the more than nearly 100,000 students who are involved in the Empowerment Scholarship Account program, the ESA program, their parents are frustrated. Their parents are clamoring for someone to step in and provide them a sensible alternative to what we're seeing today. Someone who will enforce the laws as the legislature intended, someone who will preserve and protect the integrity of that program, and someone who will deliver real results, not just for those kids who choose and those families that choose to participate in our ESA program, but for every child, for every student that goes through one of our Arizona schools. We want to make sure that whether it's proficiency at the 4th grade and 8th grade level, whether it's proficiency upon graduation, we want to make sure that students are getting real educational outcomes that provide opportunity and prosperity, not just while they're in school, but long after they leave school. Now, I am very proud to tell you that this recruitment effort has been a team one. It has been parents, it has been myself, it has been members of the legislature, it has been lawmakers at every level of government, and we have identified an absolute all-star candidate. We have identified someone who has a proven track record uniting the Republican Party and winning elections at every level of government. So if you'll all join me and welcome Treasurer Kimberly Yee, our candidate for Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm Kimberly Yee, and today I am announcing that I am a candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Thank you. I was born and raised in Arizona and have been honored to represent our great state as state treasurer for the last 6.5 years. I have actively visited all of our wonderful 15 counties and have built strong relationships and partnerships in every corner of our great state. And as I meet with individuals and families, I've consistently found a shared, unifying vision for our state. Arizonans want their individual freedoms safeguarded, a secure border, safe neighborhoods, a strong economy, and a world-class education. As superintendent, I will be a statewide advocate alongside parents and families to build a stronger and higher achieving school system in Arizona. I will partner with parents to build this system that puts students first and creates a vocational pathway that prepares our next generation of workforce leaders for our future. We must protect and preserve educational opportunities for all, and I will work diligently to strengthen our school choice options so parents can always choose the educational environment best suited for their needs. I'll make sure that all children, no matter what their zip code, no matter what their income level is, will have the greatest opportunity to achieve success both in and out of the classroom. I am the proud daughter of a public school teacher who taught right here in Arizona for 38 years. She taught in our Title I schools right here in South Phoenix. I understand that teachers are the backbone of classrooms and need the support for institutional and foundational pathways. Teachers should not have to shop at garage sales for their supplies. Teachers should be valued and paid for their wonderful hard work and dedication in our classrooms. Education runs deep in my family, and that is why in my early career, I chose to dedicate my public policy focus on K through 12 and higher education. I have served in 2 gubernatorial administrations, managing education policy with a portfolio that covered everything from childcare to K through 12 grades, academic content standards, and post-secondary and vocational education. For years, I served right here in this building in the basement as an Arizona Senate Education Research Staff Analyst. This is where I helped write the very legislation that would take revolutionary notions of school choice and educational freedom from its infancy to national prominence. These innovations included in some of our nation's most popular educational empowerment policies like open enrollment, charter schools, and homeschools. Today, these laws, the laws I was blessed to help craft, are the model for student empowerment and helping raise the standards in educational environments all around our great country. As a member of the legislature, I was honored to serve as the chair of the Senate Education Committee, vice chair of the House Education Committee, and as a legislative member of the Arizona State Board for Charter Schools. As Senate Majority Leader, I sponsored legislation to promote civics education, financial education, and I was an early sponsor and supporter of the Arizona Empowerment Scholarship Program. As treasurer, I am proud to have led Arizona's Treasury's historic record high performance for earnings under the State Land Endowment Program, which has distributed to all of Arizona's schools. Under my leadership, Arizona classrooms received more than $2.4 billion in additional funding thanks to the performance of our state's land investments. That's more money for great teachers, more money for students, and more money to help create a bright future for our next generation of Arizonans. We need a chief education officer in Arizona committed to delivering real, tangible results for Arizona children and families. Sadly, and for far too long, the leadership at the Arizona Department of Education has missed the mark, and our children and teachers are paying the price. I have a long-standing record fighting for Arizona families, children, and delivering real results. As the chair of the Senate Education Committee, I fought to protect children from woke ideology and the kind of big government overreach we're currently witnessing at the hands of our state superintendent. As treasurer, I delivered billions in historic new funding for Arizona classrooms. And as a mom, I have fought tirelessly to protect parents' rights to ensure every child is able to have the best education that best fits their unique needs. Our state's children and their families are too important to be left paying the price for petty political games and empty campaign rhetoric. Arizona children deserve a state superintendent who will deliver real results, and that includes someone who will fight to protect their educational freedom. I'm that candidate. I'm Kimberly Yee, and I'm running to be Arizona's next Superintendent of Public Instruction. Thank you. You may visit my website at kimberlyyee.com for more information.
Kimberly, I guess I appreciate what you're saying, but what I yet to hear is exactly what is it that Tom Horne is doing wrong or not doing that you think you should replace him. Give me some specifics. Lines like empty political rhetoric, all very nice. I've heard that for 50 years on the campaign trail. Tell me specifically what he's doing.
Education needs to have a priority in this state, and it's been far too long that it has not had that leadership at that building on 15th Avenue and Jefferson. And so we are talking about a program for education that needs to hit every single corner of our great state. And so you take a look at any area, that is overseen by the Department of Education and the state superintendent. And there needs to be improvement in every single area. Let's start with student achievement. Student achievement has to increase. Post-COVID, we have seen individuals who are not even reporting to any type of school system. Where are they? We need to hold these children into classrooms, whether it is in their home, in a private school, in a public school, in a charter school. These are educational opportunities for their children, and we have yet to see children come back. We are missing children in the school system right now.
Okay, but we still got the fact that, first of all, some of this is responsible to the State Board of Ed, which is certified. But a lot of this seems to be, again, generic complaints. For example, here's a guy, he has supported vouchers, which I know has been important, ESAs, whatever you want to call it. He has gone to court to defend against biological boys playing on girls' sports, as the legislature's wanted. Again, I'm looking for something specific. What has he done that made you wake up and say,
As-
other than Jake Hoffman calling you and saying,
As noted in my remarks, there is full government overreach coming out of the Department of Education at the hands of the state superintendent. And that means that he is determining how to administer the ESA program outside of his executive authority. The Arizona legislature and the governor, when they passed this program, did not determine that the superintendent would be the one to make all of these decisions. It goes to the legislative branch, and the executive who signed this bill so many years ago did not determine all of those things that he is now currently handling. And so government overreach is really a significant issue that we will have to take a look at when we get there.
you mean like grand pianos and Rolexes? So who should determine whether a parent teaching at home should be able to use an ESA?
Who determines that at the public school? Who determines that at the charter school? All of those issues are funding issues that should have accountability measures, but they have processes designed in place. And he is overreaching his authority on the ESA program, and that is what we will take a look at on day one. Next question, Barbara?
Yeah, thank you. Are you, do you want to run for superintendent because you're just enchanted with it, or maybe you're just tired of the job of treasurer?
I love the job of state treasurer, and as you know, my term comes to an end at the end of 2026, and as noted in my bio, and I ask you to take a look at kimberlye.com because it will show you how many years of experience, 30 years of education policy in K through 12 and higher education. And so I am deeply rooted in education policy, and it's been far too long that we haven't had an experienced leader inside that building, and it's time.
Treasurer, you two questions on the ESAs. One, do you support any limits at all? Do you think parents should be able to get a cello or a Rolex watch?
I believe in school choice and an educational free marketplace. And so the ESA program was built on the educational free marketplace. And many of those issues were designed to ensure that a child gets the best educational program within whatever environment best fits their needs. And so as we take a look at those unique needs, you take a look at the overall program. It's wildly successful in every single corner of the state. That is why we have seen the numbers grow so quickly. And if you take a look at the examples that you choose to use, that's 1/100% of total receipts that are coming in to the ESA program statewide. So I encourage you to take a look at the actual numbers when you do your research.
Well, we are doing our actual research, but do you have any limits at all on ESAs? And second question is, your office is responsible for the public records that show how ESA money is spent. Why won't you release the public records to show how $1 billion is being spent?
The Arizona Treasurer's Office determines the contract of the vendor for the ESA program. The Arizona Department of Education, the state superintendent, determine the day-to-day operations of the administration of the ESA program. The state Treasurer's Office does not. Next question. Yes.
You said that you don't want people to have to shop at garage sales to buy the supplies. How would you change that? Would you advocate for pay rates?
100%. As a daughter of a public school teacher, I have always supported additional funding for our wonderful and dedicated, hardworking public school teachers across Arizona. Next question. Yes, Jeremy. I'm sorry, the last part, I couldn't hear it. I go back to the law. It's written very clearly. And as an early sponsor and supporter of the ESA program, and as I have seen it continue to grow, as I've served as state treasurer and our current legislature has continued to expand it, it is a wildly popular program. And it has guardrails that are built into the law. And so as long as the state superintendent and the Department of Education follow that law, I would be supportive. I believe that the state superintendent, if there's any question on how to administer the program, should not be making those exclusive decisions on his own. He needs to go back to the legislative process, for which is appropriate, and work with the legislature to additionally add those protections. I would have to take a look at the law. Any other questions?
Yeah, guys, Treasurer Yee's got a full day, so let's go one more question.
Absolutely, 100%. I love debates. Looking forward to the day. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. I'm happy to. Do you want to do it gaggle style? Yeah. Sure. Let's let them clear out. Last time you guys about tackled me afterwards, so. No, I don't need that. I don't need that. No. Yeah. What'd you say? Did you say I need bodyguards, Jeremy?
That's why you have the podium.
Right.
It's a layer of,
I'd rather do it gaggle style, but you know. I got you. That's a fair point. Fair point, yeah. Okay, yeah, Craig, happy to, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to officially meet you.
Yeah. On ESAs, do you think there should be any guardrails at all on what purchases are made? Tom Horne's office said they have cracked down on cases of fraud and abuse, and maybe that is a small number, but they do make the headlines. Do you support any kind of restrictions?
Well, one thing we know about Tom Horne is that he's a better politician than he is a public servant. And so the rhetoric of fraud and abuse is I'm sure playing on, you know, the Doge mentality in DC. That's campaign talking points, okay? The reality is, as Treasurer Yee pointed out, it's approximately 1/100% qualify as these outlier transactions that the media has glommed onto. I really wish the media would take more seriously the exact same purchases being made to the tune of millions of dollars over the last, 5-10 years in K-12 district schools as well. Legos, common purchase for district schools. District elementary schools, common purchase. Expensive cellos, expensive instruments, custom equipment. I have a friend who is a public school teacher in Mesa. She's an athletic trainer as well. And the amount of specialty equipment that they purchase to be able to facilitate unique educational experiences for kids that are interested in pursuing that vocational track, right? They track very similarly to these outlier expenses that you guys seem to be identifying.
That's a very fair point, but in public schools or charter schools, those instruments or those Legos are shared with large groups of kids. These purchases are going to individual homes.
So Craig, I would just challenge that. I mean, look, and I say this with all due respect, okay? I would challenge that. That is a broad generalization, okay? I mean, when you look at like the athletic training, just the single example that I provided, and I could provide you more, but when you look at that, it's being used by 1 or 2 students, okay? And so, again, like let's actually stick to the facts. Happy to have that conversation. So.
Now that you've chosen Treasurer Yee to run for superintendent, are you going to pick someone to run for treasurer?
Cameron, we have a candidate for treasurer right now. Similar to my comments in the Attorney General's race, it doesn't appear that there will be additional people eyeing that spot, and so that's something I'll be working with them to make sure that they've, that they're pointed in the right direction as best as possible. So I will tell you though that there is one other statewide office. Actually, it's 2 other statewide offices that are coming up for election that are very, very important to our state, very important to ratepayers, very important to people like the young lady in Sun City West, who just tragically passed away, and that's the Arizona Corporation Commission. The Arizona Corporation Commission, unfortunately right now, is actively and openly opposing President Trump's America First energy independence agenda. that's a very big problem for our state because that means higher costs for ratepayers. That means less reliable and less affordable energy and utilities. All of those very concerning. And so I will tell you that that is something I am looking at. That's something the Arizona Freedom Caucus is looking at, and we will likely be fielding challengers to the incumbents for the Corporation Commission. Now, I like where I'm at, Howie, you know? We'll see. We'll see. I think Paul's doing a fine job, Howie. Jeremy, the reality is our job as Republicans, our job as elected leaders, and my job as the national committeeman to the Republican National Committee for the state of Arizona is to ensure that we have the strongest possible candidates running for all of these very important offices. And so if there's an area where I see a weakness, clearly I saw Karen Taylor Robeson as a weakness, as do the majority, the overwhelming majority of Republicans, not only within the party but within the primary electorate. They have serious concerns with how weak of a candidate she is. And that's why, you know, Andy Biggs is the right person for that job. We are so incredibly blessed that we have him as an option both for the primary and the general election in 2026. I'm a big fan of Warren Peterson. I've been friends with Warren for over a decade. He's got a proven conservative track record, and I think he'd be an incredible AG. I think he'd be a hell of a lot better than the corrupt clown that we have in the Attorney General's office right now. I don't know if you guys saw this, but she keeps racking up the losses, including on the alternate elector case. So. Howie, this is Politics 101. The legislative branch writes the laws, the executive branch implements the laws. As Treasurer Yee rightfully noted, what we're seeing is a broad overreach of that executive authority from the current superintendent. What we think should happen is he should follow the law. We gave limited authority. If he sees deficits in that scope of authority that we provided, he absolutely needs to come back to the legislature and convince at least a majority of the majority that there needs to be changes. I believe that when you put parents in charge of their children's education, they are absolutely the ones who know best. I believe that they want what's best for their kids. Howie, just like you maybe want what's best for your kids, like all of you want what's best for your kids. Parents know what's best for their kids. They know where and how their children will thrive and learn at the optimal level. And so I think that we should be focusing on the broad scope of how successful this program is, rather than honing in, as you know, our good friends over here at Channel 12 News like to do, on the 1/100th of 1% that are outliers. So, all right, I got one more. What was your name and outlet? What was it? Oh, Kira. Hey, I think we've texted, but we've never actually met. Nice to meet you. I would expect it soon. I mean, I would expect in the next 2 weeks we should have some Corporation Commission candidates publicly announced. So, all right, thank you guys. God bless you guys all for coming out. What? Oh, Lord, Howie, please make it so.